The Green Hornet. He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies who try to destroy our America. With his faithful valet Kato, Britt Reid, daring young publisher, matches wits with the Underworld, risking his life that criminals and racketeers within the law may feel its weight by the sting of the Green Hornet. Ride with Britt Reid in the thrilling adventure Giuseppe's Secret. The Green Hornet strikes again. Britt Reid, young publisher of the Daily Sentinel, had invited Mike Axford and Lenore Case to have lunch at Giuseppe's Italian restaurant. They had just seated themselves at a table when Giuseppe hastened over effusively.
Oh, Mr. Reid! Giuseppe is very glad to see you again. Oh,
thank you, Giuseppe. I haven't had a chance to get around this way lately. How are things going in the restaurant?
Oh, fine, Mr. Reid. Everything is just wonderful for Giuseppe.
Imagine you being in the restaurant business and saying everything's just fine.
Well, things are getting better all the time, Michael.
You can say that again.
With the Giuseppe, that is just so. Last week, I went on a football game.
Football game? Hey, no, Giuseppe, that was lucky for you.
But Giuseppe, Darwell University won that game against our own city college. Don't tell us you bet against your own hometown team.
Well, yes, Mr. Case. That's the way Giuseppe bet. That the boy, Glenn White, he's the best football player in the whole country, you bet you like.
Glenn White. Yes, he's the star player on the Darwell team. They'd be lost without him. But, Giuseppe, I didn't know you'd become such an ardent sports fan.
That's right. Last year, Giuseppe told us he didn't understand sports and thought they were a waste of time. Now, didn't you, Giuseppe?
That's all right. But Giuseppe has a change now. I go to the big Darwell game tomorrow here at the stadium. Look. Good tickets, huh?
Very good, Giuseppe. Just about the best.
Well, Darwell's playing the biggest game of the season here, aren't they?
You said it. They're playing Homer University. And believe me, there'll be heavy betting on that game.
But with the Glen White, that Darwell team is sure to win.
Sure. But without him, Darwell wouldn't have a chance against Homer, to my way of thinking.
You're right about that, Axford. Well, we'd better order our lunch now, Giuseppe. We have to get back to the office.
All right, Mr. Reid. Hey, Joe, taking the order for Mr. Reid right away. I want the best food possible.
Here it is 2 o'clock, and I expected to get back here at the office at 1.
Oh, Giuseppe certainly was generous with his food. Oh, my goodness, I never ate so much for a lunch in my life.
Miss Case, speaking of Giuseppe, I want you to get everything we have on him in the morgue. His full name is Giuseppe Morelli.
Why should we have anything on him, Mr. Reid?
He was mixed up with some racketeers a few years ago. Durand and his crowd.
He was?
Yes. Durand's lawyers managed to get all of them off on probation. Giuseppe was so scared by the whole thing, he's gone straight ever since, so far as I know. But this betting he mentioned makes me wonder. I'd like to see the material we have on him.
I'll get it right away, Mr. Reid. By the way, what's become of Durand? Did he decide to go straight too?
Durand is a smooth operator. He still has his fingers in a lot of rackets around town. Frankly, I'd like to get something on Durand that would stick in court. He's a menace to the city. But lately, he seems to keep pretty well under cover.
I see.
He'll make a slip someday, though, that'll get him into real trouble. I feel sure of that.
The matter I came to see about this afternoon, Giuseppe, is very important. And I don't want any slip-up that'll get us into trouble, understand?
But there's somebody else that can do it.
You forget something, Giuseppe. My mouthpiece got you out of a jam with the law and on probation a couple of years ago. But if they knew that you helped Spike Sorrell bump off a certain stoolie before that, it'd be too bad. Spike went to the chair. You'd go there, too.
Oh, but I did not know what was going to happen. Spike said we'd take the man for a ride. I not to know Spike I want to kill him.
I want to let you in on something else, Giuseppe. Just in case you don't really believe I could make it hot for you with the cops.
I not to understand.
It's this. A note I got from Spike Sorrell before he went to the hot seat.
Read it to him, Wally.
Sure. Listen to this, Giuseppe. I'm no squealer, but in case Giuseppe Morelli ever tries to pull a fast one, this is to say that he was the guy who was in on the killing of that stoolie with me. Signed, Spike Sorrell.
Oh, but that note, it's not the right.
Cops could match this note with Spike's written confession, and they'd grab you in a minute. Now, look, I'm not using this unless I have to, Giuseppe.
What do you want me to do?
Early tonight, the Darwell team arrives in town for the big game tomorrow. I'm putting out a lot of dough at heavy odds on Homer U to win.
Oh, but Darwell, they're sure to win.
Not without Glenn White, they won't.
Without the Glenn White? Oh, but the paper, they say he will play.
But Wally has other ideas.
Right. Joe and I know the rooms at the hotel that have been reserved for that team. We have a room on the same floor.
But I not to see why he...
We'll wait our chance. When we find a way to get Glenn White alone, we'll use a little persuasion to make him come along with us.
No. You'll not do that. You're not...
Shut up and listen. We'll take him to that cabin up in the river. You come up there about 9 o'clock. Then you and Joe will take young White for a little ride. And this time, you'll be the one to handle the rod.
No, Durant. I'm not to go. I no do it. I'm not to let you do that.
Oh, the guy's crazy.
Wait a minute, Joe. Now, listen, you. Why are you acting like that? I say you will do it, or I'll count you out and send Spike's note to the cops. And then Joe and I'll handle White.
No. You wait. I change my mind. I meet you at the cabin tonight.
Well, now that's more like it, Giuseppe. I'll tell you what. I'm a right guy. You do this job, and I'll turn this note over to you tonight. We'll see you at the cabin at 9.
Oh, it's you, Coach Denby. I was unpacking.
Yes. Listen, Glenn. It's just 5 o'clock. Meet me in the dining room at 5:30. I have a few more instructions to give you.
Yes, sir.
I want you to turn in early and get a good rest. Everybody will be watching the great Glenn White tomorrow, you know.
Thanks, Coach. You can bet I'll do my best to win.
Good. See you downstairs.
Yes, sir. I'll come down at 5:30. Might as well wash up and get ready for dinner. Good thing I got a room to myself, so... Oh, Coach must have forgotten something.
keep quiet and come along with us.
Hey, what is this?
Shut up. Do as you're told.
I'm holding a gun in my pocket.
Well, are you...
Come on, I said.
All right, I guess there's nothing else to do. I'll come with you.
Hi, Reid. What keeps you here till 6 o'clock?
Well, just finished signing a few letters, Axford. What's on your mind?
Casey said you were still in here, so I thought I'd come in to tell you that Durand and his friends are betting heavy on the big game Saturday. And the funny thing is, they're putting all their dough on Homer University to win.
On Homer University? That doesn't make sense.
I know. That's what I meant when I said it was funny. Of course, by betting on Homer, they're getting big odds.
But with Glenn White playing on the Darwell team, Homer hasn't got a chance, in my opinion. Durand is the type who usually bets on a sure thing. Of course, if he had any reason to think Glenn White wouldn't play in that game, it would explain why he's putting his money on Homer U to win.
Sure, but the Darwell team is already in town and White is with them.
I see. In that case... Yes, Miss Case?
Mr. Reid, Giuseppe Morelli is here in the outer office.
Giuseppe Morelli?
Yes, sir. He says he must talk to you. That is very important.
All right, I'll see him. Have him come in.
Yes, sir, but... Well, he wants to talk to you alone.
I see. Well, Axford's just leaving.
I'll send Mr. Morelli right in then.
Wonder what Giuseppe wants to see you about, Reid.
If he wanted you to know, Axford, he wouldn't insist upon seeing me in private. I told Miss Case you were just leaving. Remember?
Oh, sure, Reid. But I'd sure like to know what it's about.
See you later, Reid. Hey, hello there, Giuseppe. You can go right in. Mr. Reid's waiting for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How do you do, Mr. Reid?
Come right over here, Giuseppe. Take this chair near the desk.
It's good for you to see, Giuseppe. One time, you said to me, if I have a trouble, then I come and see you.
That's right. I meant just what I said.
Giuseppe, he have plenty trouble now, Mr. Reid.
Well, maybe things aren't as serious as you think, Giuseppe. If you care to tell me what's wrong, perhaps I can do something to help.
Before I tell you anything, Mr. Reid, I ask you please to make a promise to me.
Promise?
Yes, Mr. Reid. It's very important to Giuseppe.
Just what do you want me to promise?
That you're not to tell the police. That you tell nobody what I tell you.
Now, see here, Giuseppe. If you've gotten yourself into serious trouble, the best thing to do is go to the police. Then my lawyers can review the circumstances of the case.
No, Mr. Reid. Giuseppe, he do nothing. Giuseppe, he need help to keep from trouble. He need help to get somebody else out of trouble. Mr. Reid, if you not help, then Giuseppe go alone. But that no good of Durand, he is very smart.
Durand? Then he's mixed up in it?
That's all right. I ask you once more, Mr. Reid. You make a promise to Giuseppe, then I tell you everything.
Well, all right. I promise to keep what you tell me confidential.
Oh, that's good. Now I tell you. Durand, he's a mean. He's a no good. But he's a very smart. He makes a laugh at the law.
I know.
Only time I see Durand afraid was when the Green Hornet, he broke up with Durand's rocket 2 years ago. Of the Green Hornet only is he afraid.
I see. Go on.
Durand. He has a paper to get Giuseppe into trouble if I not to help him. He's going to bring that paper with him tonight, and he give it to me if I do something for him. At the first, I say no. Then I think maybe I pretend to do what he says.
What is it he wants you to do?
Durand has picked up that football player, Glenn White.
What?
That's all right, Mr. Reid. Tonight they take him to a cabin up the river. Durand says White will be taken for a ride. That I, Giuseppe, must be the one to shoot Glenn White.
We'll continue our Green Hornet adventure in just a moment. Britt Reid heard Giuseppe's announcement with considerable surprise. He sat for a moment and thought. Then he spoke.
Great Scott. That accounts for Durand's heavy betting. Well, this is serious, Giuseppe. The police should be notified at once.
No, you promised. If the police are brought in, I will go to prison. And they will find out all about me. And about the Glen White.
I don't get it. What will people find out about Glen White?
Mr. Reid, nobody knows. The boy, he must have never known. But that the Glen White, the football player that Durand had tried to make a Giuseppe help to kill, he is a Giuseppe's a boy. My own son.
What? But Glen White's father is known to be a wealthy banker, Giuseppe. I checked your past history this afternoon. Found that when you arrived in this country 20 years ago, you did have a wife and baby. I meant to ask you about that sometime. But when you say that Glen White is...
My wife, she died. I was very poor. I took my bambino, the boy, to a big house, rang the bell and left him. They took him as their own. I do odd jobs in the neighborhood. For years I watch him grow, and they call him a Glen White.
I see. Giuseppe, you must get to the police.
If I get to the police, then Giuseppe will go to prison or maybe the chair. But that I would not care about. That Durand, he gets a tip-offs. He would find out the police were coming. He would kill my boy. I want to be there with him, to get him away safe. If I could get help. But right now, Giuseppe doesn't know what to do.
If I hadn't made that promise to you, Giuseppe...
But you did make the promise.
I know. And if there were any way that I could help you, I would. I still think you should go to the police. Then I'll have my attorneys...
No. I don't want the police. Please, Mr. Reid. You're not to tell the police. You're not to tell no one.
I've already promised that, Giuseppe. But if you won't take my advice, there's little I can do personally.
Then Giuseppe try to do something alone.
Well, perhaps I may think of something. In the meantime, maybe you can stall off Durand and his men.
Even if it's not possible for you to help, Giuseppe glad he'd tell someone.
I'll keep your confidence. And if there's any possible way for me to help, I will. But don't count on it.
A short time later, Britt left the Sentinel building and went to his apartment where Kato, his faithful Filipino valet, and the only person knowing his identity as the Green Hornet, was waiting.
Kato? Giuseppe Morelli came to me for help. He's in serious trouble.
What trouble is it, Mr. Britt?
I can't give you any details, Kato. I promised not to tell anyone what Giuseppe told me. If I hadn't made that promise, I would have talked him into going to the police. But I can tell you this. Our business tonight is tied in with Glen White, the football player's disappearance, Kato. Durand, the racketeer, is mixed up in it, too.
Well, that's not good. Durand, very slick racketeer.
I know that. And it's all the more reason why I want to catch him red-handed. And I think this is it. I know that the only fear Durand has is the Green Hornet.
Then we go out in Black Beauty?
Yes, right now. We'll head for a cabin up along the river. I want to get there before 9. Let's go.
Stepping through a secret panel in the rear of a closet in the bedroom, Britt Reid and Kato went along a narrow passageway built within the walls of the apartment itself. This passage led to an adjoining building which fronted on a dark side street. Though supposedly abandoned, this building served as the hiding place for the sleek, super-powered Black Beauty, streamlined car of the Green Hornet. Britt Reid pressed a button. The great car roared into life. A section of the wall in front raised automatically, then closed as the gleaming Black Beauty sped into the darkness.
Come sit down, Joe. You make me nervous.
I'm worried about Giuseppe Durand. He ought to be here, but now... We've been here at the cabin long enough.
Giuseppe will show up. Don't worry.
That weak-kneed dope is liable to run to the cops. You know how he acted today.
He's afraid of what I've got against him.
Believe me, I'll go to the police when I get the chance. And you two have said enough here in front of me to hang both.
Ah, shut up, you. Should have gagged you when we tied you to that chair.
Let him talk, Joe. You'll be quiet for a long time after you and Giuseppe take him for that little ride along the river.
You won't get away with it. My father will never let up until he gets you for this.
I'll have to pin it on us first, fella. There's Giuseppe now. Let him in, Joe.
Okay. It's about time you got here, Giuseppe.
The police already hunting for the boy.
So what? He was bound to be missed sooner or later. Now we can get things started. Well, White, meet Giuseppe. He and Joe will take you on that ride I spoke of.
Duran, this is a boy. Maybe he promised not to tell about this. You keep him here until the game is over. Then let him go, eh?
Listen, if I get the chance, I'll talk, all right? I'll get out of this somehow, and then I'll go straight to police headquarters.
No, you don't know Duran. You will be shot. Tell him you want to talk. Then
Are you crazy, Giuseppe? I know you have cold feet about this deal, but I said you're going through with it, and I mean just that.
But this is a boy. You should not have killed him. He's a young. He's
not yet. Shut up.
I don't get this. These two were waiting for you to get here because they say you ought to be the one to use a gun on me. Well, I've heard enough to know they're forcing you to do it.
He'll do what he's supposed to do. Don't worry. And I've got the gun right here, Giuseppe. I'll give it to Joe to carry along in the car. When the time comes, he'll give it to you. But he'll keep you covered with his gun until you finish the job.
Yeah, we better get started now.
No. You're not to make a Giuseppe go in the car. You're not to make a Giuseppe kill this boy.
I'm beginning to believe the crazy dope means it.
Hey, look, I got a better plan, Wally. Why not plug the guy now? Then we'll clunk Giuseppe on the head and stick the gun in his hand. We tip off the cops, he'll take the rap. He's never been any use to us anyhow. We get him out of our hair.
Cover Giuseppe with your rod, Joe.
All right.
Wait, Duran, you're not to do this.
Why, you rotten killers, if I wasn't tied...
Go ahead, Wally, let him have it.
Might as well get it over with.
No, Giuseppe, not to let you. Oh.
The crazy fool jumped right in front of White.
He took the bullet intended for me.
I've got another one for you, fella.
No, you don't.
Oh, my arm.
The Green Hornet, I'll shoot this one.
Drop that gun.
My wrist. Drop it, I said. That did it. Now you can take the floor.
Listen, Hornet. Why are you butting in? That guy means nothing to you.
Maybe I put all my dough on his team, Durand. That's reason enough.
Look, I'll cut you in on a big deal.
Come here, you.
No, my arm. It hurts.
Take a bit of gas. That'll help you forget your wounded arm. As for you, Glenn White, if you don't win that game tomorrow, maybe you'll get a little of what they got.
If I get in that game, I intend to do my best. But not because of your threats. One time he saw I can help that man lying there, the Italian. He came out here to help me, and he took a bullet intended for me.
I'll untie you. But before I do, I'm giving you a little whiff of gas. Then I'll tip off the cops where to find you.
No, wait.
I'll look after your friend. I'll take this.
I come in now?
Yes, I need your help. Giuseppe's out cold, but he isn't hurt too badly. I thought of rushing him to a hospital, but it isn't necessary. The bullet just creased his head.
What we do then?
You can tip off the police from the gas station down the road. They'll see that Giuseppe gets attention, and Glenn White's testimony will clear him. I'll get a certain paper Durand carries in his pocket, then we'll leave.
That's Mr. Morelli's room just ahead. Room 302.
Thank you, nurse. How's he getting along?
Very well, sir. In fact, he had a fit until I brought in a radio so he could hear the football game. He's listening to it now.
It was a no-score tie game last I heard.
Yes, and it's almost over. You may go right in.
Thank you.
Seconds to play. The game is still a no-score tie. Darwell has the ball from the university's 30-yard line. There's a shift. It looks slow. Yes, ball snapped to Ben White. He's breaking through right tackle. He's down to 25, the 20.
Reed, did you hear that?
Seconds to go now. He's fighting his way through the 10. He's at the 5. He's going to make it. He has made it. White cross for a touchdown. And there's God, this game is over. Darwell wins.
Well, Giuseppe, what do you think of that?
Mr. Reid, he did it. Glenn White did it. Now I shut off the radio.
Well, Axford tells me you've turned into quite a hero around police headquarters.
That he has, Reid. Young Glenn White told the inspector about how Giuseppe saved his life and all, and about how Durand was trying to make Giuseppe work along with him.
He's a one fine boy, that Glenn White.
That he is. I'll bet his old man is proud of him this day.
That's so right to Mr. Axford. That's so right.
The way you talk, you'd think you knew his old man, Giuseppe.
Giuseppe, once he had a little boy. He knows how a father feels inside for a boy like that.
Oh, I didn't know you ever had a kid. I guess you, sort of lost him. Was that it?
To Giuseppe, he's a never lost. Inside the here, he's with me all the time.
Sure, Giuseppe. Sorry I brought it up.
I understand, Giuseppe. About that matter you mentioned to me yesterday. You seem to have handled things extremely well without help.
But Giuseppe didn't get help, Mr. Reid. They tell Giuseppe that the Green Hornet come to the cabin after Giuseppe gets shot.
Say, I did hear the Hornet was mixed up in the affair.
I'll say he was. Glenn White told the inspector the Hornet saved his life last night. That is, after Giuseppe saved him first. Then the Hornet threatened White if he didn't win today. Can you beat that one?
Well, Glenn White came through, so he has nothing to worry about.
Mr. Reid, it's a good thing you try not to help Giuseppe.
Well, why, Giuseppe?
It's not good for you come to face with the Green Hornet.
Oh, I'm afraid, in a way, coming face to face with a Hornet would sort of tear me apart. I doubt that I could stand it.
Who could tell, Reid? Maybe get the best of the Hornet, tie him up, throw him over your shoulder, and march right into cops' headquarters with him.
I have a mental picture of myself trying such a thing, Axford.
Axford say very funny joke, eh, Mr. Reid?
You said it, Giuseppe. Oh, you said it.
That's the Lex Street. Headbound to Randall, the compass indicted. Glenn White clears Giuseppe Morelli. Green Hornet implicated. Read all about it. Green Hornet still in charge. Set the Lex Street.
These copyrighted dramas originate in the studios of WXYZ Detroit, and all characters, names, places, and incidents used are fictitious.